Hey guys, weekly IBD 50 video. Hope you and your families are well. This video is sponsored by MarketSmith. If you're interested in a discounted MarketSmith trial, then there is a link in the comments section below. This video is going to be split into two parts. So I'm going to show you 5 stocks which I think look very interesting, both from a technical and fundamental standpoint. Those 5 stocks are displaying a lot of relative strength, but they're not yet building out that VCP, that flag, that cup and handle, that Davis box that I would be looking for, and then that kind of trigger bar action on one or more key moving averages. But I think they're very strong. I think they're interesting companies. So I'm going to show you those 5 which are on my radar, but the setups need to develop. And then the second part is going to be focused on 2 areas where I'm seeing a lot of relative strength. That's in software names, and it's also in building, construction, residential related names as well. So let's jump on into it. And the first one up here is On Holding. So they do shoes. I think their product is actually very good. I have a pair myself. My wife has a pair herself. We're both very happy with our On shoes. And what I think is interesting here is it's a relatively new in terms of its IPO. You can see the 200 SMA coming in. So from a Wyckoff price cycle standpoint, or a Stan Weinstein stage analysis standpoint, this looks like it's coming out of a phase 1 base into phase 2. Now, those of you who read Stan Weinstein's book will know never trust a breakout without big volume. Well, this is a breakout here, and this is big volume indeed. Some higher quality growth funds have been adding of late. One has been decreasing their position, but I think on this earnings here with this volume, I would not be surprised to see some higher quality growth funds adding to positions and or have initiated positions when the next round of fund ownership data is made available. Clearly short-term basis extended here, so what I would be looking for is a flag type pattern to form over the coming weeks. But On looks very interesting to me, and it looks like it could be fairly early in a phase 2 advance, and it could be a leadership stock for the next bull market. Maybe that started, maybe it hasn't started. There's still a lot of volatility around at the minute, but if you think about some of the other shoe related stocks that have gone on big runs, you think about Crocs, you think about Skechers. So On I think is very interesting. High on my radar. Good earnings, good sales, earnings guidance up for the next couple of years as well. Looks a very strong stock. Another one which is similar in terms of potential newish IPO and very strong is Mobileye. So this stock here, I think the tech is very interesting. I think it's going to be in a big future growth area, which is advanced driver assistance systems. There's some fairly strong stocks in this area of the market. Pretty new in terms of its IPO. You can see earnings coming through, most recent quarter 125, sales plus 57, margins accelerating 31.8% as well. Now it's still pretty choppy, pretty volatile here. You got the 50 SMA, the 10, the 21 EMA in there. So what I'm still looking for on this stock here is a low pivot around $45, maybe $44. We'll see how the pivot kind of forms, but it just needs to kind of tighten up. Maybe it could then be cup and handle with a low pivot, VCP with a low handle. But yeah, Mobileye is another one of those kind of newer IPO stocks, very high on my radar. IoT is another one similar to, say, an On. Looks like it's coming out of a phase 1 base. Take a look at the volume coming through. It was on the reaction to the earnings, so breakout, initiating that kind of phase 2 uptrend. High quality growth funds have been busy in the most recently reported quarter. No earnings, but sales are accelerating. This is the 200 SMA kicking in, so you can see the IPO was just over here, and this phase 1 base. So phase 1 then goes into phase 2, pulling back into the 21 EMA. Pretty constructive. Maybe it could be kind of a break of a downwards trend line. I would rather see it kind of bounce, then form a higher low around $20, low 20s, something like that, and just kind of tighten up, something like that in there. But IoT is another one fairly strong. ANET been around for longer than the other ones, but you can see breaking out of this base here, had some VCP action to it. It didn't really tighten up how I would be looking for the setup. It was maybe there was this bar in here, but the day before wasn't really tight. It was kind of a gap down doji. It just didn't tighten up, but extremely strong stock. Clearly short term extended here. Fidelity have been adding, so I would be looking for a potential flag to form over the coming weeks. But this is one short term, way too extended for me. But if it can kind of flag out, build a Davis box, something like that, it looks it's currently acting like a leader. Then going into a medical products area of the market, this one here is LNTH. Really good estimates coming through for the next couple of years with the guidance up as well. Huge earnings, huge sales. You can see that here. See the consistency, triple digit earnings coming through, triple digit sales coming through, margins high as well. High quality growth fund has been initiating and adding. One has been decreasing their position quite significantly as well. So a bit of this, a bit of that. I wouldn't be surprised to see when the next kind of round of fund ownership data comes in that some newer high quality growth funds funds have been stepping in, because there was a big move on the earnings with volume as well. So for me at the minute, it's extended here. So I'm actually looking at this for a potential cup and handle type pattern to form. So at the minute, how I'm kind of visualizing a potential setup is the stock looks like it's transitioned up and out the right hand side of the cup, which is very good. It was a deep cup, albeit. And then what I'm looking for is the handle to develop. So handles will commonly represent a Darvis box of ECP, something like that. So something around $80, mid $80 makes sense because of the kind of maybe more so psychological overhead resistance at kind of 86, 87. So I'm now looking for that quote unquote handle to form. So they are 5 stocks which are in the IBD 50 list, which I think are strong, but they just need more time. Then let me show you some specific areas of the market, and I'm actually going to start off with the software names. So we're going to start off with Hubs and TTD. Now, both of these stocks were leaders during that kind of 2020 advance, and this is what I'm seeing a lot with these software type names. The vast majority of them, certainly the ones which tick more of the CAN-SLIM criteria, look as though they've built some large phase 1 bases and are on the cusp of a phase 2 breakout. We'll obviously see if and when they do break out to that phase 2, but I'm seeing characteristics I would associate with large phase 1 bases that are getting ready to break out into a stage 2 uptrend. So the time element is there. There's some decent bases, so I think about that as the causality point. And now on the right hand side of this chart, you're starting to see action which resembles there isn't much supply coming to the market. It looks like the stock is getting ready, it's getting into position, because you're then seeing on a more shorter term time frame, you're seeing flags, you're seeing VCPs, you're seeing these then larger cup and handle. So here would be the cup, here would then be the handle. I'm seeing constructive action. Look how the volume is drying up. Generally speaking, there's more positive reaction to earnings with a lot of these stocks. The estimates are there. So Hubs, you can see big breakout year 2023 and 2024 with the guidance up as well. These are not small numbers. Growth rate on a 3 to 5 year look back is 43%, so it's starting to tighten now on the 1021 EMA. So if you've seen some of the recent videos, you'll know the type of patterns that I'm looking for, and then what I call those trigger bars to be forming as well. So Hubs is one of them. TTD looks fairly similar, doesn't it? So obviously phase 4 decline over here, and now looking to transition into a potential large phase 1 base. Positive reaction to the earnings, shake out around the 50 in here. Can it form a low pivot around 60 in the low 60s? Some high quality growth funds have been adding to their position. Yeah, I think a lot of these, if I bring up a couple more, this is PagerDuty. Looks like a phase 1 base to me that is forming here. You can see that time element is there, big old base, positive reaction to the earnings, more shorter term time frame. You can see this potential cup and handle. You had a shakeout underneath the 50. They now just need time to tighten up and set up how I would like to see them setting up. Huge estimates for next year, 2024, plus 999%. A real breakout year here for the earnings per share. You can see negative. 2023 earned 4 cents a share. Then the estimates for 2024 are 46 cents a share, which is plus 999% with the guidance up as well. Most recent quarter, you've had 300% with the earnings coming through, albeit they are kind of pennies instead of dollars and stuff like that. So have a little pinch of salt in there. Sales accelerating, margins accelerating. Looks interesting, and just a lot of these software names look to be building phase 1 bases. Salesforce, obviously a big old boy, and I can see how phase 1 cup and handle type pattern could be forming there. Positive reaction to the most recent earnings. You can see the volume coming through, pulls back down, a little shake out onto the 21 EMA. So can this form a lower pivot, or maybe a higher pivot around $200? You have had high quality growth funds distributing. Maybe some are getting back in on this kind of reaction to the earnings, but triple digit earnings coming through, sales there, margins accelerating, good estimates for the next couple of years, just earnings per share year over year ticking up. Institutions love that. So again, another one that looks like phase 4 into phase 1. Let's see. Smartsheet, a newer IPO, albeit it has been around for a couple of years. Potential cup with a very large handle, and then the handle itself potentially forming a base in and of its own right. Shake out around the earnings. There's the recovery. Now above the 10, 21 and 50, it needs a little bit of time here, but maybe underneath $50, high 40s, it can tighten up. I would like to see, for me, the 21 sitting there. So 10, 21 clustered, trigger bar coming through, but a good reaction to the prior to earnings reports. So let's see, triple digit earnings, 158%, sales there, margins accelerating. A lot of these software names are looking strong. Workday, the stock tends to be choppier, but you can see positive reaction to the prior earnings before the most recent one, which it wasn't stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but it's another one that again looks like it's trying to build out a large cup and handle, a phase 1 base after a clear phase 4 decline. So I'm just seeing this a lot with the software names at the minute. It looks like there's a lot of phase 1 bases around. Workday is starting to tighten up around the 1021, so looking for a trigger bar to come through. I think there's probably better stocks for me to be trading. I think this one's a bit slower, a little bit more choppy historically as well, but it just builds into, there's a lot of strength here. Really good estimates for next year, the year after, with the guidance up as well. So software, if I haven't said it enough, software is a name where I'm seeing a lot of these phase 1 bases building, so it is an area of focus for me. I'm going to do Flywire, as this one kind of feeds into what I was been talking about, albeit it's different. It's finance credit card payment processor. But what I like here is take a look how busy the higher quality growth funds have been. No earnings, but sales have been consistently around the 40% mark. It's a newer IPO. This is a 200 SMA kicking in there. Estimates for next year, 2024, plus 117% with the guidance up as well. And it's another one. It looks like it's trying to build out a phase 1 base, and it's a decent size phase 1 base as well. So just seeing this a lot with the more kind of growthy names, the ones that you would expect to see on the IBD 50 list. So instead of it being full of oil and gas stocks, commodity stocks, it's nice to see more of those classic kind of growth stocks from the growthier areas of the market. So whether that be software, a shout out to semiconductors, look very, very strong. I just think a lot of those are a little bit choppy at the minute, but maybe you see in the next weekly IBD 50 video that actually I'm putting in a lot of semiconductor stocks, as it is a leading area of the market. But I thought I would focus more so on software names in this video. But it's another one. 1021 and 50 is there. Potential pivot to form in the high 20s. Underneath $30 is what I'm looking for, and then you could have, on a shorter term basis, you'd have this bigger phase 1 base, and then a cup and handle with a shakeout or two within a smaller cup and handle. Good reaction, generally speaking, to the earnings as well. Looks strong. So let's go into some of the building and construction related stocks. I'm actually going to start here with floor and decor, and then we're going to go up to the ones that you see up here. So this stock here, it's been around for a long time, but what I think is looking interesting here is quite clearly the building blocks of a cup and handle type pattern. There's the cup, there's the handle. Ideally, as the stock transitions up and out of the right hand side of the cup, you'd like to see what I call bullish synchronicity, which is basically where price just easily moves to the upside, and it's not really chopping around all over the place. So you see this here, see how well the price is just moving to the upside here. This is great, just riding the 1021 EMA, fantastic. Pulls back down, shake out underneath the 50, and then pulling back down, higher low, 1021 and 50 SMA is there. So what I'm looking for with the volume drying up as it is, what I'm looking for is that kind of quote unquote trigger bar to be coming through. I think there's going to be some quicker stocks to be trading, but this one on my radar, Tony Rowe Price initiated and then adding fairly significantly to their position. Some other high quality growth funds have been decreasing their position, so a bit of this and a bit of that, but looks like an interesting cup and handle. Then if we go on to some of the other ones, so this is just where I'm seeing a lot of strength. Building, construction related stocks looks like a kind of area of the market at the minute that's displaying relative strength. The market strength is not overly broad at the minute. It is focused in areas like building, construction, semiconductors, software names. You had the odd kind of stock sticking out here, a couple of biotech stocks, some of the crypto related stocks, some of the gold stocks looking strong, because it's not really broad. The strength it is kind of concentrated within a couple of areas, but building, construction is an area where I'm seeing strength. So 50 SMA bounced off it in here, so that's nice to see. Potential low pivot in the low 160s. That's why I'm looking for. Volume needs to dry up a little bit more, but that's a strong stock. What I like here as well, see this green line? This is the RS line versus the stock zone industry group turning up here. Blue line, the RS line turning up, looks like a strong stock. Earnings per share year over year, steady eddy ticking up. Institutions love that stuff. PHM, this one here has been around for do you want to go way back when in time? Take a look at this. Let me take you back to 1980. I think it was a stock. 1980. Let's see if I can go. Can I go back there on the monthly chart? 1977. It's not going to let me go back that far. Oh, that's irritating. Let's try and do it. Here we go. There's a really nice 1980. Can we go back that far? No, it's not letting us go back that far. That's irritating. Ignore what I was saying. Maybe I'll put it up here. I'll flick it up that you can see a chart. The one that I was just trying to draw up. But it's another one. It's building, residential, commercial. Really strong stock. holds the 50. That's a nice spot to see being defended. Large operators stepping up. Good reaction to the most recent earnings, pulling back down there afterwards. Higher lows coming through. So it's a little bit choppy at the minute, but I'm looking for kind of that VCP, that lower pivot to form somewhere between 56 and 60 and $60. So I think this one needs a little bit more time along the 1021 EMA, but one that is looking strong. Another one in the same group is MTH. So I don't like to just buy a new stock that's breaking out into a new high. I like to see the tightness, the trigger bars setting up on one or more key moving averages, the volume drying up as well. But this stock here, strong, RS lines turning up, needs a little bit more work for me, but pivot in the high 110s level, maybe 116, 117, something like that is what I'm looking for. But want to see the tightness, nice bounce off the 50 as well. Seeing a lot of stocks in this group bouncing off their 50 SMA. The next one is TPH. Look at these RS lines turning up, really strong to see. Good reaction to the earnings, albeit it was a weak close, so it got out really well, closed on the low, but no consistency of supply in the next sessions. It just kind of powers up here, bounces off the 21 EMA. So whereas some of the other stocks I've shown you pull back down to the 50, this stock did not even pull back down to its 50, it held above it, so showing a lot of relative strength there. Good earnings, decent sales coming through as well. After tax margins look pretty good. Now, can it just form a pivot around $25, something like that? Just needs a little bit more tightness in here, but certainly a area of the market that I'm seeing strength in. So that's it, guys. I'll wrap it up there. Hopefully that gives you a kind of feel for stocks in the IBD 50 list that I'm keeping a very close eye on. There's building construction related stocks, the software names, there are a lot of semiconductor stocks, and then there are stocks from various different industry groups that I showed you earlier on, those 5 stocks. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.